ever feel like you're caught in this whirlwind of to-dos and expectations and just this like never-ending quest for something more?
Yeah.
Well, today's deep dive is taking us straight into the heart of the Bhagavad Gita, specifically chapter 18.
All right.
And we're going to uncover some seriously practical wisdom, I think, on navigating those very things.
I love it.
Duty, desire, and the path to liberation.
Yeah.
We're using T.N. Sethumadhavan's commentary as our guide today.
Right.
And what I find so fascinating about this is how, this ancient text, it manages to just feel incredibly relevant to our modern lives.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, one of the first things that really struck me was the Gita's take on renunciation.
Okay.
It's not about, dropping everything and like living on a mountaintop, which is kind of, what I always pictured.
Yeah.
But it's something far more subtle.
Okay.
And dare I say, achievable.
So tell me more about this nuanced take on renunciation.
Right.
What does that look like in practice?
So it's really about shifting our focus from the outcome of our actions to the intention behind them.
Okay.
So imagine, for instance, like you're pushing for a promotion at work.
Sure.
So that ambition, in and of itself, not a bad thing.
Right.
But are you approaching it with this, like, sense of service?
Okay.
A genuine desire to kind of contribute?
Yeah.
Or is it primarily driven by ego?
Right.
Like a need to prove yourself?
Yeah.
The Gita suggests that even, like, seemingly positive actions can be kind of tainted by the wrong motivations.
Right.
And that diminishes their effectiveness, both for ourselves and those around us.
It's not just about what we do, but why we do it.
Exactly.
It's recognizing those like subtle strings of ego that are often pulling us this way and that.
Yes.
And this reminds me of something else I found really intriguing in this chapter, which is this idea of categorizing everything.
Okay.
Knowledge, actions, even people
Yeah.
into these three distinct types.
Right.
Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic.
Yes.
And I have to say, like, before diving into this, these terms sounded a little intimidating to me.
Sure.
But I'm seeing now how they really offer this insightful framework for understanding ourselves and our motivations.
They're incredibly insightful, aren't they?
Yeah.
So think about, like, sattvic actions are motivated by purity, clarity, a sense of the greater good. Rajasic actions, on the other hand, they're fueled by passion, ego, a desire for recognition or reward.
Okay.
And then you have tamasic.
Yeah.
And that's characterized by ignorance, inertia, or even a sense of apathy.
It's like having this new lens through which to view our choices and understand what's driving them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can already see how recognizing these tendencies in myself could be a game changer.
Absolutely. It's about self-awareness, isn't it? And the Gita doesn't just leave us with these categories.
Right.
It goes a step further by connecting them to this idea of swabhava, our inherent nature, and dharma, the duty or purpose that aligns with that nature.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
This is where things get really interesting.
Right.
We've talked about aligning our actions with the right intention. But how do we even begin to understand our own unique swabhava?
Right.
That specific song we're here to sing, as you put it earlier.
Yeah. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
And the Gita kind of suggests that it's not so much about figuring out the what of our swabhava.
Okay.
Like it's not about, choosing the perfect career from a cosmic catalog.
Right.
But it's more about aligning ourselves with the how we approach our lives, our work, our relationships.
Okay.
Even those everyday tasks that might seem, mundane.
Okay. I'm intrigued. So it's less about what we're doing and more about how we're being while we're doing it.
Exactly.
How does that actually play out?
So it's about bringing that sattvic energy, that sense of clarity, purpose, and service to whatever we're engaged in.
Okay.
The commentary uses this wonderful example that really resonated with me.
Okay.
It talks about how even the simple act of eating can become an expression of swadharma.
Hold on. Even eating.
Yeah.
You've got to tell me more about this.
Yeah, think about it.
Okay.
Are you, eating mindlessly, like rushing through a meal while scrolling through your phone?
Yeah.
Or are you truly present, appreciating the nourishment, the flavors, even the effort that went into preparing the food?
It's like transforming something we often take for granted into a mindful experience.
Precisely.
Right.
And that's the essence of aligning with our swadharma.
Okay.
It's about bringing that level of awareness, intention, and even reverence to each moment, regardless of what we're doing.
I'm starting to understand how this all ties together, how even the smallest actions can become this gateway to something much larger. But there's one part of this chapter that I still find a bit challenging,
Okay.
and that's this idea of surrendering to a higher power.
Okay.
It feels a bit passive, you know? Like, are we just supposed to give up control and just let fate decide everything?
I understand your hesitation. It's a concept that often gets misinterpreted.
Right.
But the Gita's take on surrender isn't about becoming like passive puppets.
Okay.
It's about relinquishing the illusion of control.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're part of something much grander than ourselves.
Okay.
A universal flow, if you will, and aligning ourselves with that flow rather than constantly trying to swim upstream.
So it's more about surrendering the ego's need to control every little detail.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that can be incredibly liberating because it allows us to tap into a source of wisdom and guidance that's beyond our limited human perspective.
Yeah.
Siddhamadavan compares it to a river merging with the ocean.
Okay.
The river doesn't cease to exist. It simply surrenders to a larger body, becoming part of something vast and magnificent.
That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah.
But what does this surrender actually look like in our day-to-day lives?
Yeah.
How do we go from feeling like we're constantly battling against the current to flowing with it?
It starts with cultivating a certain inner stillness.
Yeah.
A space of awareness where we can observe our thoughts, emotions, and reactions without getting swept away by them.
It sounds like we're talking about meditation.
Yes.
And while I'm all for, like, finding a few moments of peace,
Sure.
my life doesn't exactly lend itself to, like, hours of silent contemplation.
Right. And the Gita doesn't expect that of us.
Okay.
It recognizes that we live in a world of action,
Right.
but it encourages us to bring a meditative quality to our actions,
Okay.
to cultivate what it calls meditation in action.
Meditation in action.
Yes.
Now, that has a nice ring to it.
Right.
So it's not just about, like, sitting on a cushion chanting,
Yeah.
but it's about bringing that same mindfulness, that same awareness to our everyday experiences.
Exactly.
Okay.
The commentary highlights practices like solitude, moderation, self-control, and dispassion as kind of key ingredients for cultivating this inner stillness.
Okay.
And these aren't just things we do for an hour a day.
Right.
They're qualities we can cultivate throughout our day no matter what we're doing.
Okay, so give me an example. How do I apply this meditation in action the next time I'm stuck in traffic? Which, let's be honest, is my own personal version of rush hour hell.
Well, imagine instead of letting that frustration take over,
Right.
you use that time as an opportunity to practice mindfulness.
Okay.
Notice the feeling of your hands on the steering wheel,
Okay.
the sounds around you, the rhythm of your breath.
Okay.
It's about shifting from a place of resistance to a place of acceptance,
Okay.
from autopilot to awareness.
It's about finding those little pockets of presence throughout the day, those mini retreats where we can just reconnect with ourselves in that sense of inner stillness.
Exactly.
Right.
And the more we practice, the easier it becomes to access that stillness, even when things get chaotic.
I love this idea of weaving these moments of mindfulness into the fabric of our day, no matter how crazy things get.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, this whole concept of surrender, it's still a work in progress for me.
Sure.
Is there a way to make it feel less daunting?
Yeah.
Less like I'm, like, jumping off a cliff.
Right.
And more like I'm, I don't know, maybe wading into a cool, refreshing stream.
Well, what's beautiful about the Gita is it doesn't offer this one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
It recognizes that each of us is on our own unique journey.
Okay.
And it encourages us to approach this process with a sense of curiosity, compassion, and even a touch of humor.
That's reassuring because if I'm being honest, some days I feel like I'm doing more flailing than flowing.
Yeah.
But before we delve deeper into the practicalities of applying these principles,
Okay.
let's take a quick break.
Sounds good.
We'll be back soon with more from our deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita. And we're back, diving right back into the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita.
It's been quite a journey already, hasn't it?
It really has.
Exploring these timeless principles
Yeah.
and seeing how they resonate so deeply with our modern lives.
Yeah. We've talked about intention, self-awareness,
Right.
even finding that sweet spot between action and surrender.
Right.
But if I'm being honest, it's a lot to take in.
Sure.
Do you have any advice on how to actually, like, integrate these teachings into our daily lives?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, most of us aren't, like, about to trade in our day jobs
Right.
for a life of meditation on a mountaintop.
Right. And the Gita doesn't expect us to.
Okay.
You know, it recognizes the reality of our human experience,
Right.
the joys, the challenges, the seemingly endless to-do lists.
Right. Exactly.
But it reminds us that even amidst the chaos,
Yeah.
There's always an opportunity to choose awareness,
Okay.
to choose intention, to choose alignment with our true nature.
Okay, I love that choosing alignment.
Yeah.
It feels empowering. Like
Yeah.
we have agency even when life throws us curveballs.
Yeah.
But what does that actually look like in practice?
So remember those three gunas we discussed earlier? Sattvich, Rajasic, and Tamasic?
Right.
Those qualities are always present within us,
Okay.
like different radio stations we can tune into.
Okay.
So that the practice becomes about noticing, like, okay, which station am I currently tuned to?
Right.
And then consciously choosing to amplify the sattvic frequencies, those qualities of clarity, purpose, and service.
So it's about making those micro adjustments throughout our day, like hitting the reset button on our internal radio dial.
That's exactly.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that when we're like in the thick of it?
Yeah.
When we're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or just plain out of sorts?
So one practice the Gita highlights is cultivating a meditative mindset, even amidst activity.
Okay.
Remember our traffic jam example?
Yes.
Instead of letting that frustration consume you, you can use that as an opportunity to practice mindfulness.
Okay.
Noticing the sensations in your body,
Yeah.
the sounds around you, even the simple act of breathing.
Right.
It's about transforming those moments that might typically trigger stress into opportunities for presence.
It's like we're building those little pockets of peace throughout our day, those mini meditation retreats where we can reconnect with ourselves and that sense of inner stillness.
Precisely. And those pockets don't have to be limited to moments of solitude.
Okay.
The Gita encourages us to bring that same mindfulness to our interactions with others.
Okay.
You know, can we listen with greater presence?
Right.
Can we speak with greater kindness, act with greater compassion?
So it's about infusing our interactions.
Yes.
Even those like seemingly mundane encounters with that same sattvic energy we cultivate in meditation.
Exactly.
It's amazing how these ancient principles can feel so applicable to our modern lives.
Absolutely.
But I have to admit, there's one piece of the puzzle I'm still grappling with.
Sure.
And it's this idea of surrender.
Yeah.
I understand intellectually what it means, letting go of the ego's need for control, aligning with a power greater than ourselves.
Right.
But emotionally, it still feels a bit like, well, scary.
It's completely understandable to feel that way.
Okay.
You know, we're conditioned to believe that control equals security,
Right.
that if we let go, everything will fall apart.
Right.
But the Gita invites us to consider a different perspective,
Okay.
that true strength lies not in our ability to control every outcome,
Okay.
but in our willingness to kind of surrender to the flow of life, trusting that we're exactly where we're meant to be in each moment.
It's like we're trading in that like white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel for a sense of trust in the journey, even when we can't see what's around the next bend.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Right.
And the more we practice this surrender, the more we realize that it's not about giving up.
Yeah.
It's about opening up to a level of wisdom, guidance, and support that's always available to us.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're not alone in this journey.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful.
It has been fun.
We've covered so much ground,
We really have.
from understanding our motivations to aligning with our true purpose,
Right.
from cultivating a meditative mind to embracing the liberating power of surrender.
And remember, this is just the beginning of the exploration.
Right.
The Bhagavad Gita is a gift that keeps on giving. Each time we return to its wisdom,
Yeah.
we uncover these new layers of meaning and practical guidance for living a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
It's a reminder that the path of self-discovery and spiritual growth is an ongoing journey, not a destination. And the beauty is that we don't have to be experts or scholars to tap into this profound wisdom. We can simply start where we are, with a willingness to learn, to grow, and to embrace the transformative power of these timeless teachings.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
The Gita reminds us that we're all works in progress,
Mm-hmm.
and that's perfectly okay.
Right.
The journey itself is the destination.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you'll take these insights to heart and continue to explore the depths of your own inner wisdom.
Yes.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep shining your light.